Joe White. Dr. Joe White shares power-packed business and peak performance strategies that he's learned over the course of 20 years as an entrepreneur, executive consultant, and coach. He has a long, prestigious list of clients he's worked with, including celebrities, sports legends, and hundreds of across the U.S. and Canada. He co-wrote the best-selling book, Concrete Jungle, Survival Secrets for the Real World, along with Bob Proctor, Mark Leader, and Steve Brizio.
Yeah.
Yay! Welcome, Dr. Joe.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here. I met Dr. Joe at CEO Space, and he's just a kind, generous, warm person. And I was really fascinated by what he had been doing with real estate courses and all the work that he's done. And so we started talking about a program that you've had for how many years?
Geez, almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. And he makes money every single month with
Same
these
course.
courses, same course. How many of you would like to have cha-ching, cha-ching coming in your mailbox?
Okay.
Yeah. So I was really impressed by that, especially for my own self too, is because I've had some really great success last year with 3 online programs, and I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity from you to be able to learn from somebody who has done this and done it for 20 years and gets money every single month coming in.
Every month. Yeah.
Every month. So tell us, so that's a little bit on how we met. So tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Sure. So when I first graduated, shortly after I graduated high school, my high school sweetheart came to me and told me she was pregnant. And I was thinking to myself, what in the world can I do to support a child? Now I'm 18 and a half years old. And I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? And I happened to have a little bit of money after I graduated high school from family and friends giving you money. And I was up late and I saw one of the infomercials on how to sell real estate. You guys remember those from back in the day. So I saw 2 infomercials. First one was the No Money Down course, and I took part of the money, I bought that course. The next infomercial I saw was Tony Robbins, and I bought that course. So over the course of about 6 or 7 years, I started doing real estate investing. I did millions of dollars in property. And also I have to say, after that particular night, like 2 weeks later, I never worked another job since then. Mm-hmm. So I've totally been self-employed since like 18 and a half.
Wow.
So shortly after that time, I became a single dad, maybe about 5 years later. And I'm keeping my young daughter, and I had a son by that particular time. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? I can't be doing business, 12 hours a day. I have a kid I have to take care of. So a couple of my friends said, you know what? We would love to learn real estate, and we would pay you to teach us real estate investing. So the first week I had 3 people in my basement teaching real estate. The second week I had like 10 people. The next week I had 20 people. And then it kept going until I had 100 people. And I said, I can't keep doing this. My neighbor's going to get mad. I can't have 100 people in my house every single week. And this kind of allowed me not to do as much real estate, but help other people and still make money. So I started, I said, well, I'll create a course. So I took and I kind of came up with 10 steps on how you flip properties. And I put this into a course, and back then you had to have the binders, the note binders, the CDs and stuff like that. And I started printing and copying it myself, and then later on I learned how to do fulfillment where they actually do it for you. But it gave me a way to start making money without being present. And I think one of the biggest challenges that I see with speakers and coaches and authors is their time is tied to their money. And so a lot of times you basically have a job, you don't have a business. And so I think that you need to be speaking, you need to be teaching, you need to be doing courses, you need to have merchandise. You need to have software, you need to have a lot of stuff. You need to have tons of products so that you start building the actual speaking, branding empire, not just one item. So I did that for, I taught real estate, kept teaching for like maybe 8 or 9 years, and then we had the real estate slump. Where it kind of, real estate just was not as there was a lot of foreclosures, real estate wasn't as valuable. So I took the money I made and I invested in a mental health company with my mom and my sister, and that became a multi-million-dollar company. We had like 100 employees. And we decided we would go to CEO Space because I had another piece of that company that I wanted to franchise. And so I went to CEO Space and I tried to learn, I learned how to franchise a company. I started franchising, I had 3 franchises, and we got rid of the mental health company, and I decided I would sell that company and kind of retire for a little while. So I was retired, and the actual local area, it was club president at that particular time for CEO Space, came and said, hey, the founder's coming, would you pick him up from the airport? Because I can't pick him up. And Bernie, of course. So I picked Bernie up from the airport, and knowing Bernie, he convinced me to come work for CEO Space. And so for 3.5 years, I became their Southern area director. So I would basically, work for them in North and South Carolina. But here's something, and a couple of things I love about Amanda Rose. Just so I can tell you. One, I love the way you dress.
Oh, thank you. Same here.
Yeah, I love the way you dress. She always has something beautiful on. But she also understands the two most valuable currencies. Does anybody know the two most valuable currencies there is?
Yeah.
Time is valuable. But, yeah.
Relationships.
Yeah, very true. Relationships and information. Amanda Rose is incredible with her relationships, and she realizes how valuable they are and how you can leverage the relationships. I mean, that's important in this particular room, to leverage the relationships you have, because there's so much you guys can do together. Because you have people and know people who need services that the other people have, if they may not know those people, or they don't know those people, and they can actually spread their wings or get to other people that way. So, after I did that for a while, I just started realizing that there's a time in life where you sow seed, and then there's a time in life when you harvest. And so I didn't go to CEO Space for money because I was retired. So the company, I was getting a paycheck every single month. I said, you know what, let me just sow my seeds. Let me just give. Let me learn to serve. Let me just stand in the background, help with strategy, and just learn as much as I can. And I spent 3 years, in so many amazing rooms. Learning from so many amazing speakers and coaches. From the Les Browns to the Wendy Lipton to the Amanda Roses to, a little bit of everybody. And another kind of going back, there was years earlier, there was one of my real estate students that I had helped and through a troubling time, and he actually went on to start a venture capital company. Very successful company, multi-million-dollar company, and he said, as I started this company, the first person I thought about being on the board was you. So would you come, every few weeks to Atlanta and be on my board? And they started financing movies and large projects, and I got a chance to work with TV shows and celebrities. And here I knew nothing about that. I only knew real estate, but they taught me all this stuff. So I'm in the middle of these two amazing environments where I'm learning from the greatest speakers, but I'm in the room with multimillionaires and billionaires making decisions on venture capital. And then maybe November this year, I said, okay, we know it's a seed time, but now sometimes it's harvest time. And now I need to move away from playing the background and strategy and work with other people, and I need to do my own thing. I need to go back into selling my products, helping other people, and sharing my message with the world. Going back to making my legacy, like what you talked about earlier.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Awesome thing.
So when it comes to building the online side of it, and thank you for also agreeing with me, it's not just I'm going to build my business online. You have to do all of it. But you have to do it smart. And so when it comes to online, what would be a couple suggestions that you would give them around making the online successful for them?
So I love something I call the Lego effect. And the Lego effect is when you build content for online, whether it's for a course, whether it's for social media, I like building content that I can use in several different places. So let me give you an example. I use a strategy called 10 by 10 by 10. So I will do my framework where I have 10 steps. So maybe 10 steps to lose weight for somebody who maybe isn't health. In each of those 10 steps is a section, but then there's modules within those 10 steps in a course. Each module should be able to stand alone. So if step 1 is on mindset, it should be almost able where it can stand alone. If step 2 is on how to exercise, and step 3 is on how to diet, each of those should be almost like a mini course on its own. And then within those modules, you have lessons. And every lesson should be able to stand on its own. But you want to stay under 10 steps because you don't want to overwhelm people. You want to stay under 10 lessons, and you want to stay under 10 minutes. Because people consume things in bite-sized chunks in today's environment. And so what happens is by you making them where they're standalone, but they kind of fit to the total framework, you can move them to different products. You can pull out a lesson and put it on social media. You can take a module and you can make it a mini course. You can take a module and make it a book. You can do a lot of stuff, and you can basically take your books and take the chapters and make each one a module. So I'm building everything when I'm doing my online courses in that sense, the Lego effect, like Legos, you can take each piece and put it in different places. And I think that just allows you, because I don't know if you can see those people on social media or on YouTube say, how do they keep coming up with all this content? You got to keep thinking of stuff. And I think a lot of people just keep rebooting the same content around over and over again.
And if you're inspired to, I would say do that 100 dump list, brain dump list. And you'll be surprised at how many videos you can create, how much content you can create, how much you can share when you just break them down to bite-sized pieces.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
Yep. And then when you launch the program, as he mentioned, just keep it to 10 in a specific problem that you're solving people with. But
clarify, the 10 minutes is 10 minutes per lesson.
Yes.
yes, so it's 10 minutes per lesson.
Mhm.
So I'll actually share this with you and get your perspective too. Is so when I launched the 3 online programs that I did, I launched them live, and then now they're able to purchase them. And I found that I got better registrations from live because they could interact with me than I did when I tried to launch a totally out, done for you kind of thing when I launched my first one. So the live seemed to do a little better for me initially.
Yeah. Webinars do really well for me, but I'm also trained as a platform speaker. So what that means to me is I've never gotten paid a keynote to speak. I've always had to go and speak and sell products. So that's why creating products is so important for me.
Yes, and that's. Do you mind? I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
Because that's perfect in that sense. Because even if it's a product and you're selling, or even if it's a live class coming up, you can sell either of those from the stage.
Yes. And when you're doing a product, I think you want to do a campaign, and a campaign has to have several elements. I think you should do a live. I think you should do a launch funnel. I think that you should maybe do JVs. You should find like 4 or 5 different ways to market that product so that you can get the maximum exposure for the product.
I had somebody that she's actually, I'm not going to say in what group she is. So she is a client of an affiliate group that I provide training for. And this person said, I'm going to launch a group program and like a month from now. And I said, well, how many people would you like? And she's like, I got like 60. She hadn't worked up to that. She had not been out there for people to know. So you have to have a reality check around that. So she needed to start speaking to get in front of more people to fill that program. She needed to start putting posts and videos and all those things out there to start getting people aware of her. And you have to give yourself a little bit of time to market something. It doesn't sell in 30 days. So it's creating the website for it.
Oh, yeah.
And all that pieces, and creating the alliances to help you promote it, asking other people for help. So like for an event, typically I start 90 days before, right, in marketing. So when you say I'm going to launch an online program, how much time do you give yourself to market it and fill it?
So I normally give myself at least 60 days. If I'm doing a relaunch, I normally give myself about 2 or 3 weeks. I think that sometimes too, though, when you're in a position where you're first starting, a lot of times you want to do what's called a beta launch. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times you want to create a course, but you don't know what it's going to be about. You don't know what to do. And sometimes we get stuck in a creative block where we feel like it's got to be perfect. I run into this a lot. Right now I'm doing a group of, my elite group is about 25 people, and the common problem I see is they don't, they feel like it's got to be perfect, so they never start. Oh, I did the slides, but I never record anything. I did this, but I don't do anything. So I think a great way, if you feel like you're stuck, is to announce the program and teach it live on Zoom. Force yourself by not, telling the public, when it's coming out, to just do it. And do it live. And then come back and you can do another version. You don't have, that's not the only version. You can keep doing it over and over again. When I say I've been selling the same course, it's the same steps, same framework. I may record it every few years to update it, but it's the same framework, and it's been selling for almost 20 years, nonstop. And that's not me always marketing it. I think that there's 4 major stages to meet what I call my tribe. And the first one is aware. They're aware of what I do and who I am. The next step is they become a customer. So they buy a product. The next step is they become a fan. They like what I do, they follow what I do, no matter what it is. If I do something else, they're gonna still like it, follow it. And then the last step is an evangelist. You guys know what that is? That's somebody who goes out and sells for you, whether or not you even pay them. And so you really wanna get to the point where you start creating evangelists. And so what ended up happening is, I've had so many people getting all these big checks that then they would keep telling everybody. So even when I didn't really want to sell the course and want to be bothered with marketing because I was doing something else, they would still be telling everybody else, and I would still be getting clients and customers.
Brilliant. And that is really, it's kind of like we talked about that pyramid, right? So it's starting to be, and that's what you're building. You're building those fans to evangelists and people who sing your praises over and over again. And then you got people marketing for you. Well, how nice is that?
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
One of the other things too, and I tried to ask everybody here questions if I got a chance to interact with you, to see what some of your biggest problems is. The other thing that I run into a lot is people have what's called brand confusion. So they have, you know what, I'm a trainer, but I also want to do something else, and I also want to do something else. So you've got like 4 or 5 different skills, and you don't know which one you want to actually promote and market first. So I always tell my students that you want to do things in threes. You never want to do more than 3 things at a time, because after 3 things become overwhelming. But you can have 3 different brands, I believe, but you need to market them separately. You need to have a separate website for each one of those. You need to have a separate campaign for each one of those. But you do want to build one at a time, so that wait till one is kind of systemized and running before you move into the next. But you can definitely have more than one brand. So don't think that you have to be stuck with just teaching one thing just because you start off teaching. And I really found out the hard way. I said, you know what? All I can teach is real estate, because that's what everybody keeps asking. That's what they know. But now I teach online courses because I realized I've been teaching the same course forever. And then I started teaching entrepreneurship because I had already been working with businesses on the venture capital board, working with CEO space, doing strategic consulting. So I wanted to teach that too. So I realized, you know, I can have multiple brands. I just need to run them separately.
Because we all hear this. Somebody goes to a networking meeting, or you meet somebody, and you, what do? Well, I have a landscaping company. I'm an animal intuitive. I am a web marketer. Right? So what happens to their credibility?
It's gone.
So even when you're talking about what you're doing, focus on one thing that is maybe either your 100% passion that you want to grow, or your income generator. You can always attract people into those other opportunities, but as Dr. Joe said, build that brand under that. People will still find you for the other things, but if it's confusing when you're saying it, it's confusing to them. And a confused mind does not what?
They don't buy.
They don't buy.
You know, definitely, you know, you shouldn't be in a room to speak unless you know who the audience is. You want to always do market research on your audience. And so if I'm in an audience, what I'm networking, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to talk about my highest, best value. So if I'm in a room full of just entrepreneurs, I'm going to talk about my entrepreneur products. If I'm in a room full of real estate investors, I'm going to talk about real estate investing. If I'm in a room full of speakers, I'm going to talk about my online marketing stuff. So, you know, that's how I know we presented myself.
Great. So is there anything else you'd like to share with them? I think that was a lot of great content.
Yeah, great. I mean, so one of the other things too that one of the questions is someone said, you know, the problem I'm having with online marketing is hiring somebody to do my website, or hiring somebody to do the sales funnel, or hiring somebody to do this, and I hired somebody and they didn't do a good job. My point of view on that is you never hire anybody for something you don't know something about. And the reason why I think a lot of times people get taken advantage of, if you're hiring somebody to do a website and you know nothing about websites and how they work, they can tell you anything and you have to believe them. They can give you any price and you have to believe them. At least do some research on whatever it is you want to hire people to do, so that you have a basic understanding of it. And what I do is I normally outsource a lot of my research and my projects to somebody, maybe Upwork or someone like that. And I have them give me maybe 10 YouTube videos that are 10 minutes or less, going back to that 10, on the subject matter that I need to research. So that way I know what I'm doing when I'm hiring somebody.
Smart business.
I think so.
Right? Because
Yeah.
even think you hire somebody that does social media, but marketing on Facebook. Well, Facebook ads, as the people that do online, you know, that is a whole enchilada when you open that box. And you do need to know that somebody has the credibility, somebody has the experience, they know what they're doing, they have the results for their clients before you spend money. You cannot buy a good Fiverr social media Facebook ad person. I'm telling you. Tried it. It's only $10, but you know, it's just not worth it. You do some just a little bit so you understand it, or have them explain to you how it works, so that way you know that they are credible. And that's what they specialize in this industry.
Yeah, and
as well.
One other thing that did just come to mind is, you know, in putting together your courses and your products, I like to think about 3 different levels. There's the do-it-yourself. That's basically where they have an online course and you just give them the course and the information and they go out and they do it. You have the done with you. And the done with you is group coaching to me, where maybe you get the course because I don't want to have to teach you everything in the coaching session, but once a week or once every week, we're going to do a group coaching on Zoom where everybody can join in. And then you have the kind of done with you. And to me, that's my elite group. That's the one-on-one coaching that may happen every other week, and that's my highest priced product. So I may kind of price my do-it-yourself at $397, my next level at $997, the next level at $1997, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how I price my coaching.
What's your third one? No, not from price, but you said the first is do
Done
it
with you.
yourself, done with you.
Yeah, do it yourself, done with you, done for
Oh,
you.
and then private.
Yeah, so you see the difference in that?
Yes.
Right, so
One-on-one.
do it yourself, right? It's all you, you're on your own. Do it with you, so there's some coaching element, and the other is the done for you, and that literally they do it for you, which is awesome. Well, you've been amazing.
Thank you.
Joe, hasn't he?